Hello everyone, this is Audrey Codner, your girl from ACG Math Tutoring. So, yeah, I'm here. Okay, so what we are doing today, we're going to be solving by factoring. So we're looking at what's called the zero product property. Hold on, we're going to go on a little field trip. Zero product property. So basically, this is what happens when you're trying to solve. So we have an equal sign. So we're basically solving, if I may, since we're doing, I'm just going to use this section right here. So if we had a parabola, we're basically trying to figure out where this parabola crosses the x-axis. Okay, those are called, they have several names. Some people call them roots. Some people call them your solutions. Okay, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for your zeros. So the way that we can do this is we could do some factoring first, or if we're lucky enough to get a problem already factored, all we have to do is just set our equations equal, or our products equal to 0. So let's say, for example, they give you 3x minus 5 times x minus 2. And they set it equal to 0. When I see the equal to 0, that means I want to know what, there's two of these products, okay? I want to know what value of x, and there's going to be two of them, because we're talking about quadrilaterals now. Okay, we're talking about quadratics, right? Not quadrilaterals, quadratics. So we want to know what numbers or what values of x will make either this parenthesis or this parenthesis equals 0. So the only way we can do is to set each of those parentheses equal to 0. Just switch them up so you can see it better. Okay, so for the first one, I'm going to go ahead and solve it for x. So since I have a minus 5, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to add 5 on both sides. So now I have 3x is equal to 5. In order for me to get x by itself, 3x means 3 times x. So I have to do the opposite. I have to divide. And whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I do on the other. So a lot of people get that process mixed up when you're dealing with simplifying expressions. When you do not have an equal sign, there is no other side. Okay, so that's what happens when you're dealing with expressions. Oh, what is this? 1 2/3 for all my mixed number people out there. Okay. All right. So I'm not doing any integrals. So if you want to do integrals, go see my friend Robert. Okay. He's actually going live for the first time today at 3 p.m. Okay. Robert, the AP math guy. AP math guy. So here we're going to add 2. So negative 2 plus 2 cancels out. So we have x is equal to 2. So our two solutions, I'm going to keep as improper, but it can be as a mixed number. is my 5/3, and it's positive 2. Okay. So if I want to know what was going to make my expression equal to 0, all I have to do, and if it's already factored, just set them equal to 0 and solve. That's it. Okay? So let me do one more like this, and then we're going to try to dig a little bit deeper. So if we have all right, we can try this one. So we have 2x plus 1 times my 7x plus 5 is equal to 0. So this would be good practice for you guys to solving like two-step equations. Okay? Gotta still get that practice in. Alright. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for tapping. I'm just kind of feeling like a loss right now. But I appreciate you guys coming and joining in. Okay. So all we're doing is setting each of our factors, have them equal to 0. So that means you have 2x plus 1 equals 0. And the other equation is going to be, I'll put in red, with 7x plus 5 is equal to 0. Okay. So all you're doing is solving for x. His name is Main Street. Let's see if I can put it in here. Main Street tutoring. So that will be like you go under Main Street tutoring. We'll be going to that. All right, so 2 and 7 are my answers. So let's take a look. That's what Lisa. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Okay. All right. Okay. Just curious. Yeah, we're not learning this in 4th grade. I'm not very well, but I'm gonna get over it. So, La, to answer your question, this is like Algebra 2. So this is when our students are like in high school. So I want to say an advanced Algebra 1 and a standard Algebra 2. So usually like either like 9th, some kids are learning in the 8th, some kids are learning in the 7th. There we go. Okay. All right. Thank you for the follows, guys. Appreciate it. So let's take a look. We have 2x plus 1 equals 0. So I need to subtract the 1. Okay. Need to subtract the 1. So that means we have 2x is equal to negative 1. Now I need to divide both sides by 2. So since my numerator is smaller than my denominator, we're looking at a fraction of a negative 1/2. Okay. It's okay. Hey, Janice. Not a problem. So we have 7x plus 5 equals 0. So again, we want to subtract 5 on both sides. So we have 7x is equal to negative 5. So if we divide both sides by 7, because we want to do the inverse of multiplication, we get x is equal to negative 5 halves. 5/7, sorry. I was looking at the 2 from the other problem. I don't know why. Okay. Yes. Okay. I do great with anything in English. I'm frustrated. I don't remember. That's okay. I mean, how? There we go. Okay, can I try one problem with this? Like this, please? Sure. So right now, we're going to be working on what's called the zero product property. So right now, we're looking at it when it's already factored to get used to solving for zeros. So do some practice with solving it for our equations. But then I'm going to add the factoring piece to it. So I'm just going to extend on it in a second. All right. So, okay, you're a master's in education. Hey, don't worry, don't fret. Okay, so one more. Let's see if we can get this. Thought I had a different color one in there. Okay, let's try this. So we have 8b plus 1 times b plus 8. Okay, so watch your signs and try to solve for that. Hey, Leanne, how are you? I don't know what she does. I'm already screwing up life right now, so I'm on the verge of tears, Leanne. So I'm sorry. Nope, you don't have to multiply anything. All you have to do is set each of these parentheses equal to 0. So all we're trying to do is find what values of b will make each of the parentheses equal to 0. Okay, so just set them each to equal 0. You take it from there. Okay. Thank you, Leanne. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. But at least, Megan, you know that that is an option. But let's see what we got. So Ham is saying we're going to subtract 1 on these sides. Good. So we're going to subtract 1 here and subtract 1 here. So that means your positive 1 and your negative 1 are going to cancel out. We're going to bring down our 8b equals 0 minus 1. That gives me a negative 1. There you go, Lisa. We got that. Nice, Leanne. Awesome. So we divide both sides by 8. And our b equals 1/8. All right, you still got it. Good job. All right. So now, when we're going to the other side, we're going to subtract 8 on both sides. So now we just have b over here. So now 0 minus 8 gives me -8. And we got this a lot quicker because my coefficient was 1. So I didn't have to do anything. You are right. Thank you. It is a -1/8. Thanks, Beans. Yes. Okay. All right. And then you have -8. Okay. All right. So now with this comes our next step. So we're going to jump on in. So we have our x squared plus 2x minus 48 equals 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry over the whole thing called factoring. So like the ones that we had up here, they're already factored. So now we need to factor these to set it equal to 0 in order for us to do what's called the zero product property. Okay, basically setting each of the two parentheses equal to 0. So, looking at this, my leading coefficient is 1. So when I see that, I automatically draw my two parentheses. And then what happens here, we split our x's. And this goes for any time your leading coefficient is 1. You just go ahead and split your x's. Okay? So now, we got to think, what two numbers multiplied together will give me a -48 and add together to give me 2. Hey, Kaya. Okay, so we're saying 6 and 8. One of them has to be negative. Which one will be negative? The 6 or the 8? Okay, Val saying -8. Do we agree? Leanne saying -6. So we're saying Oldham saying 6. Meads is saying 6. Okay. Saying 8. We're saying 8. Saying -6. Dave, -6. Beans is thinking -6. So let's take a look. So we know one of them has to be negative because when I multiply, I need a negative solution. But it needs to be added together to give me a positive 2. If I make the 8 negative, so 8 plus 6, -8 plus 6, if you owe me $8 and you paid me 6, you still owe me $2. So that's a -2. We don't want a -2, we want a positive 2. Okay, so we don't want to make the 8 negative, we want to make the 6 negative. Okay, is that a little bit clearer for those? All right, it does matter. It does matter. There's matter between getting my money back and spending some money, making sure I have money in my wallet. There's a big difference, okay? All right, so -6 is in one parenthesis. The +8 that we found is in the other parenthesis. So usually anything that we find here will go into our parentheses. Now that we have our two factors, we're going to set each of those two parentheses to equal 0. So we have x minus 6 is equal to 0, and we have x plus 8 is equal to 0. Okay. What do you think my solutions for x is going to be? Okay, hey Danny. Okay, so Selena, we are solving using factors. Well, 48 is not a perfect square. That's probably why. Okay, so we're saying 6 and negative 8, right? 6 and negative 8. Okay, Ohio's saying that. 6 and negative 8. Danny, Lisa, 6 and negative 8. One of them has to be positive, You're welcome. Okay, so we have x negative. We have a positive 6 and negative 8 with Dominique. How are you? I think I missed a couple people. Blessed, I did miss you. 6 and negative 8, so sorry. Is that Burke? A 6 and negative 8? That's cute. Alright. Is that Maya for 6 and negative 8? And Kaylee? We got x and 6. Okay. Alright, I think I got everybody. Alright, Beans, we got Blue. Hey Blue, welcome back. Alright, so we have to add 6 on both sides. So that means negative 6 and positive 6 gives me 0, but we don't need 0 as a placeholder because we still have our x. And 0 plus 6 will give me 6. So that's 1. Then we have to subtract 8 on this side because it was a positive 8. They cancel out, leaving me with x is equal to negative 8. Okay. So our two possible solutions, our two possible roots, our two possible zeros are going to be 6 and negative 8. Now, here's the thing. Anytime you notice your highest degree, if it's a 2, you're going to have to factor every single solitary time. So the first question you should always ask yourself, do I have a GCF? If I do have a greatest common factor, factor that bad boy out first. Then you look what's left inside the parenthesis, and then you're going to go right into your factoring that we just did here. And if you notice it's equal to 0, that means we need to set these two parentheses, once we break down, equal it to 0. Okay, I'm going to do some more examples of this, because this is definitely 4-point questions, okay? And it'll give you higher rankings up for ASVAB as well. All right. Okay, so here we go. All right. So we have n squared minus 2n minus 15 equals 0. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. But you passed your algebra though, which is awesome. All right. So now let's see if I can be an assistance and help people with passing more, if I can. What about the plus 2x? Judy, what are you talking about? I'm a little confused. Okay, so Lisa's saying 3 and negative 5. Louise is saying 5 and negative 3. Okay. The last problem. Okay. What about the plus 2x? Well, that's how we were able to get our factors. That negative 6 plus 8 gives me my positive 2. The plus 2x here, let me write that in green. This was represented by this. By us getting those two factors, because here we go, negative 6 plus 8, that gives me a positive 2. Okay, not a problem. All right, so right away, we have my leading coefficient is 1, so that means I can split automatically into 2 parentheses. I'm going to split my n's. There's an n there, there's an n there. So now we need to think what 2 numbers multiplied together will give me my negative 15 and add together to give me my negative 2. So a couple people mentioned negative 5, positive 3. Okay, awesome. Good. Thank you, Dave. All right. Thank you, Lisa. I think I mentioned that earlier. Okay. Thank you, Kaya. All right. Thanks so much for the follows, everyone. Appreciate it. So, because negative 5 times 3 gives me negative 15. When you multiply, your signs are going to be opposite. That's why it makes it always negative. But negative 5 plus 3, think of it. If you owe me $5 and you paid me 3, you still owe me $2. So this combination right smack here are going to be what we're going to use inside of our parentheses. So now we have n minus 5 and n plus 3. Now, if you wrote n plus 3 here and n minus 5 there, that's perfectly fine. Okay? Commutatives property. Love life, right? But now, since we have our factors, set them equal to 0. So you're going to have your n minus 5 equal to 0, and your n plus 3 equal to 0. Okay. So now we're going to add 5 on both sides because we're going to solve it. And this is a one-step equation. Reason why, there's nothing in front of our n's. So negative 5, positive 5 cancels out, gives me 0. So all I have to do is just bring down my n. And then 0 plus 5 gives me 5. Here we have a negative 3. 3 minus 3 gives me 0. We have our n equals 0 minus 3. That gives me a negative 3. So my final answers are going to be 5, negative 3. Okay. Hey, at least you're trying. I appreciate it. Do I do online math tutoring? Yes, I do. And I definitely have openings. Oh, good. You love... there's another method of doing this kind of problem. Of course there is, Robert. I swear. There's like at least every problem that you see in math, trust me, there's like 5 to 7 different ways of doing it. And this is what drives me crazy about during the school year. when teachers are like, no, I want you to do it my way, your way. Like, you invented math. You didn't invent math. All right. And then plus, if a student can actually break it down and be able to understand it, why are we diminishing it? And they're getting the correct answer too. You know, not one of those kids that just makes up something. You're like, the answer is supposed to be 12 and you got 563. Like, no. But I know there's rules and there's regulations and we got it, but there's so many different ways of doing it. So for right now, I get it, but I just wanted to introduce into a way to help those that need this quick help for GED. Okay, for ASVAB. I'm not trying to jam all these different ways in their brains because they're just trying to just get their high school diploma. They're just trying to score high enough so they're not getting no piss poor jobs in the military, that they can actually have options and make more money. Or for them to surpass a lot of the basic algebra courses, which I love how you're trying to learn a whole year of math in a matter of 5 weeks. Not possible. So that's why I come on here on TikTok. I'm trying to relax, break down concepts, so people be able to take it, apply it, and then move past this thing called a math barrier. Okay? So we want to make sure, okay, you're interested for your 8th grader, please just go ahead and message me, Teresa. You know, message me. You can go to, you can go to my profile and just message me through there. Okay? I always look in the requested area. All right. Thank you, Austin. Right. You know? Okay? So do it the right way and define that right way, Robert. Okay? All right? And if you don't have to stay. like, you know, I was like, it's the summer. Why are we doing math? Because there's a lot of people that are still taking summer classes. And again, didn't have to stay. You could just keep going. It just cracks me up. It really does. Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard. And then we as adults get into a tizzy because this is what drives me insane. They tell us to do things using calculators. So they drown us with the calculators. But then you're going to be tested and you're not allowed to use a calculator. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And I think that's what drives me completely insane. But here we are. So, if anything, that's why I tried to break things down. And if you don't like my style of teaching, that's great. You can scroll on. I'm still going to be here. You know? I was in the classroom for 22 years. And they have tried multiple times to break me. You know? And especially being the only African American woman in the math department at one time, and some places I was the only African American teacher, and having some parents calling me the N-word, having students and colleagues calling me the N-word, and I still stayed. So if you think I'm gonna run away because some little peon decides to come in here and be like, oh, I don't like math, but yet you stayed to type in the fact that you don't like math, but you just weren't given the opportunity to understand it. And that's what the problem is. All right? Love y'all. Here we go. So, when we're taking a look at this one, my leading coefficient is 1. Okay? So if my leading coefficient is 1, right into it. Let's break these two parentheses down. Split your x's. I wish that was true. All right, so now, yes, 7 and negative 5. Good. All right, so we have positive 7 and negative 5. Because we think, what two numbers multiplied together would give me negative 35 and add together to give me a positive 2. So 7 times negative 5 gives me negative 35. And 7 plus negative 5 gives me a positive 2. Excellent. So now, let's set them equal to 0. So that means you have your x plus 7 equals 0. And you have your x minus 5 equals 0. Yep, it doesn't matter how you arrange them. So if you had x minus 5 over here and x plus 7 over here, that's fine. Okay. All right. So yes, we're going to subtract the 7 on both sides. So we have our x is equal to negative 7. That's one of my solutions or zeros. Add the 5 on both sides. And then we have x is equal to 5. All right. So, yep. So the if I don't. Okay. Yeah. Don't fear. Okay. All right. So now we've got our next ones. So we have this 5x squared minus 5x minus 150 equals 0. Okay, don't freak out. Don't freak out. All right. So, yes. Okay. Okay. So now, first things first, anytime you do any kind of factoring, let's see, do we have a greatest common factor? Okay. Nope, don't freak out. So, saying the GCF, and you could divide everything by 5. Yes, but let's factor out the 5, not so much the division, in a way. So if I factor out just the 5, because this has an x squared, this has an x, but this is a constant. So when we factor out the 5, then we're just going to do what Kaya says. We're actually going to divide the original expression right here by the 5. So 5x squared divided by 5 will give me x squared. Negative 5x divided by 5 gives me a negative 1x, or just negative x. And then negative 150 divided by 5 will give me a negative 30. bring down the equal 0. Okay. Okay, how are you doing so far? Okay. All right, so we're doing okay. All right, so now, inside the parenthesis here, this, let's see if that can be factored even further. My leading coefficient is 1. So right away, I'm setting up my 2 parentheses. Bring down my equal 0. Don't forget my trifling friend. Bring down that 5. But I can split my x's. Okay. Just like how I split from my x's. So we're just going to focus our attention right there. So now we need to think, what 2 numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 30 and add together to give me a negative 1? So we got negative 6 and 5s. We got 6 and 5s. So we got a battle between negative 6 and 5s. Okay, there we go. We got a couple people that switch back. All right. So negative 6 plus 5. So negative 6 times 5 gives me negative 30. Negative 6 plus 5 gives me negative 1. So these are the numbers that we want. So right here, we got our factors. So we need to set everything to equal 0. So I'm going to be a little ridiculous with this, but just work with me. So I got the trifling friend. I'm going to set that equal to 0. I got my x minus 6. I'm going to set that equal to 0. And I have my x plus 5. I'm going to set that equal to 0. Now, 5 cannot equal 0. All right? 5 can't equal 0. But we can find out what my other 2 unknown x's are going to be. So if we add 6 on both sides, we got x is equal to 6. And if we subtract 5 on both sides, we have x is equal to negative 5. So my 2 possible solutions are going to be 6 and negative 5. Yes. Hey, General, how are you? Okay. So for this one, we just did a little extra combo. First, we factor out our GCF. Then we focus our attention with inside the parenthesis. That will be our completing, factoring by completing. And then we're doing what we're doing today, which is the zero product property, which means we're setting each of my factors to equal 0. But remember, from the very beginning, your highest degree will tell you how many solutions you should have. Okay? I've been better. I've been better. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, love my math hour. Thank you. Okay. So, thank you. All right. So, let's try another one that's going to be like a combo. Because I think we really get it when the leading coefficient is 1. So let's try this one. Let's try 3n squared plus 42n plus 144 equals 0. Okay. Thank you so much for the follow, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully I am trying to help you guys. Again, I do have some courses. I have my notebooks. I'm currently working on a workbook as we speak. And I just, published 2 more notebooks. So I have 3 more notebooks to deal with. Okay. All right. So Kai is saying divide by 3. So that means we should be factoring out of 3. Okay. So when we come with our 42, so if I do the 3, I'll put the 3 out here. Okay, so 3n squared divided by 3 will give me my n squared. 42 divided by 3, that'll give me my 14n. And 144 goes in there, what? 4 times 12, 24 to 48. Yeah, 48. All right. Thank you, Austin. Sometimes you just need someone to just double check your stuff. Now, since we factor out our GCF, let's focus our attention. I don't know why I put that away. Let's focus our attention with inside the parentheses. Let's see if we can factor this down a little bit further. So now I'm splitting up my ends. Since my leading coefficient is 1 for just inside the parenthesis, so I can go ahead and split my ends. Now I need to think, what 2 numbers multiplied together will give me 48 and add together to give me 14? Okay, so nurse is telling me 12 and 4. Oh, you lied. Okay. Okay, so we got a lot of 6 and 8, 6 and 8, 6 and 8s. Okay, all right, Leanne. So we got a whole bunch of 6 and 8s. Okay, nerd. What I'm learning. Okay. All right, so good. So we got like with the 6 and 8s, because if we did the 12 and 4, yeah, that gives me 48, but 12 plus 4 won't give me that 14. That'll give me 16. So yes, so if we do a 6 on one side, the 8 on the other, and both of them are positive, so we add the plus sign. All right, thank you. All right, so now we have our factors. So we just have to set it equal to 0. So let me see if we can get right to the nitty of the gritty. Do I have to set the 3 equal to 0? Yes or no? Do we understand that? Or do I have to show that step? No. Thank you, Selena. Thank you, Austin. Okay. Okay? Because we know we're going to get it undefined each and every time. And then plus, looking at my highest degree, that means I'm looking for 2 solutions. I'm not looking for 3. So let's just focus on these 2. So we have our n plus 6 is equal to 0. And we have our n plus 8 is equal to 0. What would n equal for both of these? Okay. All right. So make sure we watch our signs, Selena. Negative on both sides. Yes. Okay, you lied. Why is everybody lying to me today? I'm already on the edge, people. Stop lying. Because when the truth comes out, it sucks. Okay. So we have our negative 6. That's our one end. And we have our negative 8. That's the other end. Okay. That's okay, Selena. That's all right. All right. So this is what's happening. Okay. So what we're doing is basically we're using one of the many ways of factoring. And all we're doing is just too excited. You're like, I'm getting this. This is awesome. This is great. Right? So all we're doing is just taking it step by step. You know, anytime I swear, anytime I see a square, I'm like, we got to factor. We got to factor some way. So it's either we're doing factoring by GCF, factoring what we did last night by grouping, factoring completely with like the special products, which that's what I'm going to show tonight. It's a whole thing, okay? And factoring the quadratic formula, like it's never ending. And then like what happens when you get out of the squares and you start getting into more algebra 2 and you start dealing with more of the cubes and to the fourths and to the sevenths, and you're starting to see those things in ACT and SAT, and you're like, what is this? But a lot of people don't understand that if you can get this, if that changed to another, like say to the 4th power, you're going to be doing the same exact stuff. Okay? Don't let the exponents throw you off. All right? So let's see if we can get a couple more. Yes. If anything, let's see if we can tap. There's 96 of us in here. Which one, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm really grateful for it. I don't think I'm deserving right now. That's just how I'm feeling. I'm just in my feelings right now. But I really do appreciate you guys staying by here and tapping and sharing and following. And some of you guys are catching me in between your lunch breaks, and you really should be just focusing and watching another cat video. Instead, you're sitting here trying to do some math problems. And I really do not take that for granted. I don't take that for granted at all. Okay. So if we can get it up to 40K, then we'll go to the next one. Okay, I can definitely do that. I got one sitting right here, slapping my face. Just one look. Okay, you preparing for a GED. Now, for the GED, Selena, you're not going to see anything more than to the second power. I'm just going to let you know that right now. So, like, if I showed you something with a higher degree, that's not going to be in the GED. They usually go up to squares. Okay? No problem. I mean, I could show it to you just for giggles, but since you're getting yourself ready for the GED, I don't want to throw you off at all. Okay? Thank you, General. I appreciate you. Okay. Yes, we are going to do another one, M. I got you. I just want to see if we can get up to 40K. If all of us tap, we can easily get to 40K real easily. Because I think the higher we can get these numbers up, the more that we'll get to FYP. I mean, there's so much stuff to learn with YouTube and TikTok, and every time I turn around and it's just like, Audrey, why don't you try this? And why don't you try that? And I just get so like, I'm working on 3 hours of sleep right now, people. And life is just really kicking me right in the twat, if I may be so bold. It's just like, I don't want to say I feel like God's spitting on me right now, but that's how it feels right now. But it'll be all right. But I'm grateful because we just had rain and my basement is dry. So I'm not completely up blank creek. All right, let's see if I can do something with... Oh, perfect. We'll try this one. So just have to be grateful, right? Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. All right, perfect. Okay, so 6x squared minus 54x plus 120 equals 0. Oh yeah, it had like 4 inches. I think it was the second to the last storm that we had. Flooded my basement. Still gotta repair. No, I'm in Maryland. My sub pump gave out. It was just too much stuff going on all at once, as always. Okay, divide by 6, factor out 6. Awesome. So if we factor out this 6, what's going to be left? What's going to go inside my parenthesis? There you are? Oh, good. Yeah, I'm in Baltimore. Okay. So if you divide the original by 6, what would you get as an expression? Try to write the whole expression in as best you can. Oh, you're in Frederick. Okay. Samia has x squared minus 9x plus 20. Leah says x squared minus 9x plus 20. Sheen says x squared minus 9. Don't forget the x plus 20. Good. So 6x squared divided by 6 gives me x squared. Negative 54x divided by 6 gives me a negative 9x. And then 120 divided by 6 gives us a plus 20. Okay. Excellent. Yep. Divide by that. Good, Eric. All right. So you're thinking it's negative 5 and negative 4? All right. So we're just focusing right here in the center. So right here, since my leading coefficient is 1, we can go right into splitting my variables. In the variables, we got an x here and an x here. Bring down the 6. And then, what two numbers multiply together give me 20 and add together to give me a -9? All right? If you guys ever get stuck, and I know you always see my notebooks here. So we do have a factor sheet inside my notebook. So if I'm looking at my 20s and I want to know which one will give me a -9 or just 9 in general, if I try to add 1 and 20, nope. If I try to add 10 and 2, that's 12. Nope. If I try to add 5 and 4, that will work. But in order for that to be a -9, both the 5 and the 4 has to be negative. So this will be, we can say 5 here. So -5 and -4. And a negative times a negative will give me a positive. In this case, a positive 20. All right. So now we need to figure out what factors of x is going to make this equal to 0. Because regardless if you make this into 0 or you make this into 0, all of this is multiplication. So we have our x minus 5 is equal to 0. And we have our x minus 4 is equal to 0. So this one, my x is going to equal 5 because we add 5 on both sides. And this one we add 4. So my x is equal to 4. Okay, so my two solutions is a positive 5 and a -4. The Audrey's, so Leanne, the Audrey's notes. Yeah, they're the ones that come with the QR code. So like if you want to get a copy of all my notes that I do here on TikTok, it's called Audrey's Notes. And what happens is, let me see if I can make myself presentable. So right now we're working on book 4. Amazon all of a sudden has a problem with something, so I have to adjust that today. But it's a copy of all my notes, just like how I'm doing in my regular notebook. Sometimes I tape things in. Sometimes we have all the notes whatsoever. And what happens is I have the QR code. So if you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to the live that is dealing with the notes on the page. So like this one had to deal with probability. This is book 3, if I'm not mistaken. This would dealt with matrices. Some of them you can actually see my notes in there. Okay, so all you do is like scan the QR code and then boom, it takes you to factoring trinomials when your A is 1. So we're going into breaking down factoring. Okay, so all this is listed in Audrey's notes. Okay, it's in the A and is also, how can I present this anymore? It's like every time I say something, it's like, you just said, da, da, da. Oh my blessed Lord. I just don't know. So I can actually show you, if you get it through here, I'm only getting this much per book. If you buy it through here, that's my own private bookstore. Now, if you want, you can go here to get all of my lives that I have here from TikTok, okay? Even they're starting to act kind of crazy because I'm just bringing a whole bunch of my stuff. So I have to start going live on there as well. But if you want any of the math notebooks, my Audrey's notes, and as I said before, there's workbooks that's coming out. You can definitely take a visit to this. Okay. So if you go here, it'll have all my stuff. If you are interested in this, if you're interested in this, maybe even these. I know, it's a shame I have to do it this way now. Okay? You can go here as well. All right? When you're in school, thank you. And if anything, if you have family and friends that also needs these things, and it all started with my tutoring. So a lot of my tutoring kids, they just do not know how to keep notes, and at the same time their notes were just packets that they got from their teachers, but they never looked through the packets. Nope, they don't. So then some of my kids were having an open notes quiz, and that's what made me do this section, because when they have their formulas, they don't have to go searching for anything. All they had to do was like, oh, okay, what's the formula? They just had to go straight to that section to figure out what they needed, right? So, and then if they wanted to know some of the steps, I don't think I have too many steps here. Well, this one does. So if I wanted to do any steps, they can go through their notes and write down what the steps are, so it'll help them remind them. So when it's time for them to do their homework, because these kids that I have that I'm talking about in particular, they work right after school, so they can't go to after school tutoring. So then when I said, when you get all the information, write it down in here, so when it's time for you to do your homework, then you have the steps to follow along. Because I try not to be available at 11 p.m., but I always happen to be available at 11 p.m. You know, when they come home from work and they're like, I got all this homework, I don't know what's going on. All right, let's get on a Zoom call. Yeah, I do that because I'm nuts. So, anyway. But that's the thing, you know, a lot of people think that, okay, it's great that they have these after-school programs, which is good, but it's kind of hard to keep track because you have those students that are either in sports and they can't because they got practice after school. They got club teams. Some of them work after school, like right after school. Some of them leave school early just so they can go to work, you know, to make a little couple extra bucks. So, yeah, that all happens. I'm going to try one, maybe two more, and then we are done. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to stick it in between here. And I'm going to do something a little more in depth. But I think you guys can do it, or you can follow along. I have faith. You're like, oh no. No. I have faith. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. So, what's different with this equation than the others? What's different with this equation than the others? Okay. GCF is 1. Not in standard form. Okay. Because it should equal what? Okay. Right now, it equals 2. But yes, Sheen. Yes, Pog. Yes, Selena. There we go. It is equaling 2, but it should equal 0. Okay. Yes, there we go, Nike. So if I can, let's do it. Let's make it equal 0 by subtracting 2 on both sides of the equal sign. So that means the 2 is going to be lined up with our other content, which is negative 72, negative 7 under the negative 2. So that gives me 3n squared minus 6n minus 9 equals 0. What do you notice? Yeah, be careful. It was a negative 7 minus 2. Since the signs are the same, you're actually adding. Okay, there we go. Now we need to divide by 3. Take out 3. Good. So if I factor out a 3, what remains? If I factor out a 3, what remains? Yep, we have our GCF is 3, GCF is 3, good. Again. Okay, so we have n squared minus 2n plus 3, and then we have n squared minus 2n minus 3. Well, we're missing that. Which is it? The battle of the positive 3 or the negative 3? You lied? See? The negative 3s. All right, so we have our n squared, because 3 divided by 3 gives me 1, bringing down my n squared. Negative 6n divided by 3 gives me a negative 2n. And then negative 9 divided by a positive 3 will give me negative 3. So now, let's focus inside the parenthesis. Let's see if that can be factored. So we have our 3, and since my leading coefficient inside the parenthesis is 1, I can easily split my ends. So, what two numbers multiplied together will give me a negative 3 and add together to give me a negative 2? Okay, so I have 1 and negative 3. I have negative 2 and negative 1. I have negative 1 and 3. I have negative 3 and negative 1. Hey, Cookie. I didn't say hi to you earlier. I'm sorry. I have negative 3 and 1. Okay. So we kind of switched it up. So it is going to be our negative 3 and our positive 1. Because negative 3 times 1 gives me negative 3, and negative 3 plus 1 gives me negative 2. You owe me $3, you paid me $1, so you owe me $2. So now we're going to set our parentheses equal to 0. Okay, that's where that 0 product property comes in. So we have n minus 3 equals 0. And we have n plus 1 equals 0. All right, good. So our final answers will be, we're going to add 3 on both sides here. So my n equals 3. And we're going to subtract 1 on both sides here. So we have n is equal to negative 1. All right. So we got 3 and negative 1. It's okay, Bridget. Yes, Selena. What is that? Syphily? Oh. You're gonna have to help me with your name, dear. All right. Hey, Casey. How are you? All right. All right. Okay. So the only thing that we had to do extra for this one is we had to set it equal to 0. In order for us to do that, we subtract the 2 on both sides with the constant, okay? Then we check to see if we had a GCF, which we did, which was 3. Inside the parenthesis, we factored that down a little bit more, so that's how we got our n minus 3 and our n plus 1. And then we set these two factors equal to 0. Now the 3 on the outside is not going to help because we would get 3 equals 0. Now, 3 cannot equal 0. And then plus, if we look at the original has a high degree of 2. So that's how many solutions I should have, or possible solutions, which will give us our 2 possible solutions at the end. All right. I think this is enough. I need a breather. I will be on tonight I switched it over to 9:30 and went back to 9:30 instead of 10. I don't have that student anymore, so at least I'll be on a half an hour earlier. So I'll be here. Or did I switch it again? I can't remember. I'll be here tonight. Just I'll be here. I think I switched it to 8:30. I can't remember. Anyway, it's too much flip-flopping. But one thing before I go, Robert, who is Main Street Main Tutoring, he's actually going to go live today. I'm excited. At 3 p.m., basically in the next half an hour and some change. So if anything, go ahead, come. You guys all want to have advanced math. You're always asking me, when do we do integrals? When are we going to do limits? This is the same thing as this. This is so much harder. Go. And let's go and support Robert, okay? Just relax, observe, see what the advanced math of calculus looks like. Don't freak out, okay? Just give it a little bit of exposure, all right? If you can come and support, that would be awesome. All right, so I am done for today. Well, I'm done this part, but I will be on later on, and I'm thinking I'm going to take a look. I have one more student, and I want to see because I had 2 students today, and I have an idea what I would love to go over, but I want to see what this 3rd student's going to do. And if it's something that I'm just like, this is definitely going to be on the GED, this is definitely going to be on the ASVAB, and yeah, they keep messing up on that part, I'm going to show that tonight, okay? And if anything, I'll hold off on the factoring until tomorrow afternoon, okay? All right, what is the account for Robert? Robert, what is your account? I had your stuff. Great question, Casey. Here we go. Robert, the AP math guy. So it's this one right here, Robert, the AP math guy. But it's also under Main Street Math Tutoring. Yeah, you can he's literally 1, 2, probably 2, maybe 3 people below you. Yeah, just click on his profile to get his linkage. Alrighty. You're getting set up as you speak. Awesome. Yeah, just do you. Because trust me, you see, when you put it out there, your people will show up. And especially when school starts back up, I know a lot more people are going to be venturing in. Okay, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the support. Thank you for thank you. I really do appreciate you. I just appreciate the purchases. I appreciate if you're interested in tutoring, just message me. Okay, you can, and I'll probably look in here, but message me. You can also check out here, and then give me some time to upload this live, because then you can go here, okay, to get the copies of the lives, and that is a free subscription as well. Okay, I'm not bougie yet, so get me before I become bouged up. All right. Alrighty, so have a good day. I'll probably see you guys tonight, but don't forget, in the next half an hour, go and check out Robert. Go and support. Just sit, watch, participate, and share. All right, take care, guys. Bye now.